He looked me straight in the eye when he said it. If you can't trust me spending every weekend with my ex-wife, maybe we shouldn't be together. The room went silent. I could hear the clock tick. I could hear my own pulse. He thought it was an ultimatum, a weapon. He didn't realize it was the last sentence he'd ever speak to me as his wife. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply nodded and whispered, "You're absolutely right." That was the moment I chose revenge. When we met, he was different. Or maybe I just wanted to believe he was. He told me stories of heartbreak, of how cruel his ex-wife had been, how lonely he felt afterward. I listened. I comforted him. I built him back up. He said I was his anchor. He said I saved him. Maybe that was true. But anchors sink too, if you let them. In the beginning, his devotion was complete. Flowers at my desk, midnight drives just to talk. A man who promised forever, and I believed him. But forever began to look like every weekend spent at her house. At first, the excuses were innocent. She needs help with the kids. She's going through a hard time. I wanted to be understanding. I wanted to be the secure wife who didn't flinch at shadows. But shadows grew into patterns. Every Friday, his bag packed. Every Sunday night, his tired smile as he came home. His phone turned upside down on the nightstand. His laughter softer when he texted her than when he spoke to me. The pieces didn't add up, but the silence between them spoke volumes. And then came the slip. A dinner reservation accidentally forwarded to me. 2 seats, Saturday night. A place I'd never been, but one she loved. He didn't even bother denying it. He looked at me like I was the problem, like my mistrust was the betrayal, not his weekends. That's when I realized I wasn't his wife. I was his backup plan. I didn't fight him. Fighting would have given him power. Instead, I began to calculate. The company had offered me a transfer months earlier. London, a promotion, double the salary. I'd turned it down for him, for us. Now I signed the papers, quietly. No announcement, no ceremony, just a stroke of my pen sealing his fate. I played my part until the last moment. I packed when he was with her. I sold what I didn't need. I closed accounts, moved assets, made sure no trace of me would be left behind. All the while, he believed I was trapped in his orbit, but I was already gone. The morning of my flight, I cooked breakfast as usual. He kissed me goodbye, muttered something about checking in on her, and walked out the door. I didn't follow. I didn't call. I didn't confront. I simply wheeled my suitcase into the waiting cab and left. At Heathrow, I felt the weight of years lifting off my shoulders. Freedom doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's as quiet as a boarding pass sliding across a counter. He texted later that day, "What are you doing this weekend?" I stared at the screen, the words mocking me. His routine was so predictable, so arrogant. He didn't even realize I was no longer playing his game. So I sent him one thing, a single photograph. Me, smiling, departure gates glowing behind me. Heathrow Airport. I didn't add a caption. None was needed. I imagined the look on his face when he opened it. Shock first, then confusion, then the slow, crushing realization that he no longer had me waiting at home, no longer had me tolerating his lies. He lost control in a single image. That was the revenge. Clean, surgical. Weeks later, friends told me he was spiraling. His ex-wife didn't want him back. She only wanted his weekends because they fed her ego, her power over him. Without me, he was just a man exposed, clinging to both women and holding neither. Meanwhile, I was walking along the Thames, breathing air that didn't carry his name. Meetings in glass towers, evenings free of suspicion, nights filled with silence that finally felt like peace, not punishment. I think back to that ultimatum often. If you can't trust me, maybe we shouldn't be together. He was right. though not in the way he intended. Trust isn't about granting permission to betray, it's about never needing to question in the first place. I gave him my loyalty. He gave me his lies. And in the end, I gave him nothing. Not rage, not tears, not closure. Just a selfie. From Heathrow. People expect revenge to be loud, to be dramatic. But the truth is, the sharpest revenge is quiet. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need blood. It only needs timing. And I chose mine perfectly. Because he'll replay that moment forever. The text, the photo, the realization that the woman he thought would wait didn't. That while he wasted his weekends chasing his past, I seized my future. And that future never included him. When I close my eyes at night, I don't see him with her anymore. I see the photo I sent, the proof that I left, without a fight, without a goodbye, without regret.